What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Franklin. Right, today I'm going to talk about this topic: marriage being an empty box. You're probably thinking, how is marriage an empty box? Well, with the way the society, the world is, the present time, I'm of the opinion. Again, as I normally say, this is advice. Okay. You don't have to take it. The idea of marriage is a beautiful thing. It's an amalgamation of two lovers, two people who've decided to, amalgamate their feelings and decide to cohabit and live life together. Hopefully till death, do them part and stuff like that, which is an amazing thing. Okay, the concept is beautiful. It's been around for time. Now, but I've realized that there's a huge amount of misconception about marriage where people have views that, for example, the idea that once I get married to someone, I'll be fulfilled. You dig? And then when people get into marriages, there's this huge amount of, and there's so many factors that make marriages, collapse and stuff. But I believe a lot of people go into marriages with a totally wrong mindset, because some people think, listen, for example, I've come out of university, I'm a graduate now, I'm working, and so there's nothing wrong with you wanting to settle down and plan life and start moving on with someone, settle down and create a family with someone. If you managed to find love, whatever your interpretation of love is. But the idea that once you get married, you will be fulfilled is totally wrong. Okay? Marriage doesn't offer fulfillment. What I'm saying is, see, even the idea of love, you've got to be comfortable in your own skin. You've got to love you. You've got to love yourself before you're even capable of, developing love and feelings for someone else. So that when you get let down, you'll be all right. You'll be able to bounce back. Okay? So the idea of finding fulfillment in someone else I think is totally wrong. And the whole concept of for example, like the African community, and no diss to the entirety of African community, but there is this very how do you say, marriage is seen by some people as a form of achievement. Like you see a woman in our community, for example, she's managed to get good education, gone to university, maybe trained as a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, and then she's got a degree, and then maybe she's in her late 20s now or early 30s, and you see people, uncles, aunties, or even friends and relatives, oh, go and marry, oh, look at you, you're getting older, go and marry. There's this idea of go and marry, you must marry, go and settle down, which is totally wrong. People remove focus from, and these pressure also make people just make crazy stupid decisions, and they just jump and attach with the wrong person because they want to make mom and dad happy. They want to get the stigma of, oh, all my friends are getting married, all my friends what you realize is most of your friends are probably not even telling you the truth about their relationships. We live in the age of Instagram, Facebook, and all the colorful images and stuff, and people leave pretty much disseminate a lot of falsehood. They put on Instagram colorful pictures. I'm not suggesting that everyone on Instagram is a lie. I use Instagram myself, but people never tell you about the dark side. They never tell you about the struggles. They never tell you about the setbacks. They never tell you about the marriage scandals. They never tell you about details about the cheating. They never tell, only a few people, maybe like celebrities, when you hear like a breaking news from blogging sites and stuff like that, people try to show you as if they are happy 24 hours a day, which is never the case, so the societal, sort of pressure makes people make all these blind, crazy decisions about, oh, you've got to get married. And when people get into that marriage, you realize you weren't even prepared. You realize you probably didn't even know that person as much as you think you did. You were blinded by the so-called honeymoon phase when you were doing boyfriend and girlfriend. And then it's all complex and totally flummoxing. And then you want out, and then you probably are pregnant, you've got kids, and then you realize that you are in fact not fulfilled. Okay, now I've got a few points. You might see me looking downwards. I'll put my notebook here. One of the things is looking from the perspective of like African community. I would suggest don't cave in to parental or societal pressure. Most parents, I get it, parents are getting elderly. They like the idea of, I would like to have my grandparents and stuff, but it should be on your terms though. Why should you go and get married to make your dad happy? Your dad should, no disrespect, but your dad and your mom should should already live a life, their own life should have been fulfilled, and they should have their degree of happiness. They should be happy about the fact that you're alive and well. You've acquired a sound level of education. You probably have a business, a good job. That's enough happiness to keep any good parent going. So you shouldn't put pressure on your daughters and your sons to say, go and settle down, go and bring me a wife, go and bring me this, go and bring me that. Oh, I want my grandkids by next year. And what you do is you put them into a slippery slope, and then it turns into trouble. Okay? Don't cave in. Now, let's go to the topic of, why marriage is an empty box. Okay? To me, marriage is an empty box because two people come together to amalgamate their feelings and start living life together. The marriage is empty. When you kickstart it, when you look at it, it's empty. Just imagine a big box, right? Now, what you deposit into that box determines what you both get from it, right? So the idea that when you say women, you want a perfect man, that this is I want a God-fearing man. I don't know. I'm not particularly religious, right? I believe in God, but I'm not a religious person. But you want a God-fearing man, you want this. It's okay to have, a man, maybe he's got a job, the woman is working and all that stuff to make sure finance is not an issue and stuff. But believe me, man, life isn't exactly what it might look like. It might be colorful when you start. Challenges will come. You will face storm. You might end up being bedridden. You might be sick. You might lose your job along the line, into the marriage and stuff like that. So there are factors to bear in mind. Because as I was saying earlier, people expect this, okay, we're married now, and you want everything to fall into place. So you are hoping for those things to make you happy. This is where failure comes from. The idea of you going into that marriage, affection has got to go into that box. Love, constant reassurance, your friendship, your communication, trust, which is a major cog in the system. So both parties have got to be constantly depositing in that box. Now, what you put in that marital box or marriage box determines what you get from it in terms of return, right? So your input determines your output, pretty much. Now, another thing is, don't buy into this age-old marital concept, okay? And this is not me suggesting that you stray off and live a crazy life and stuff, but what I'm pretty much saying is, this is how it's done. You've got to learn to understand the person you are with. Like I said, you have got to be comfortable in your own skin, first of all. You've got to love yourself. You've got to find happiness in you. You are the real deal. Before you then amalgamate your feelings, your soul, your life with someone else, if that makes sense. So the whole idea of people, and another thing, and a major factor is that we've been indoctrinated, most of us coming up. You have a misunderstanding with your partner. You can't even have conversations. We can't communicate properly to hopefully sit down and be able to deal with our problems. Run into some spiritual leaders, and you think you can basically force an already formed adult into how you want them to behave by using religion. This is one of the disastrous decisions that people make, by using decision as a guiding light, as a form of, trying to get the other person to do your will or to behave in a certain way. Oh, pastor wants to see us. Blah, blah, blah happens. You run to your mom and dad. Blah, blah, blah happens. You run to, except if in extenuating circumstances where there was violence, a threat to your life, physical threat to your existence. Those are very serious matters. If you have to run to your mom and dad for safety, run to the police and stuff, of course, please do, by all means. But there's a normal misunderstanding, so simple stuff. A pastor said that you can't, you're not, basically, a lot of people are living this life based on religious parameters. You want that, but you don't need religion. My point is, you don't need religion to genuinely love someone. You don't need religion to show affection. You don't need religion to tell you that you need to clothe and feed your kids. You don't need religion to tell you that you need to pay to keep a roof over your head. You don't need religion to tell you that you need to get your ass up and go to work. You don't need religion to tell you to communicate properly with your partner, or to find forgiveness and work together as a team. The list goes on and on. Now, most marriages are, I would say, transactional and non-relational relationships. I think some people do it without even considering the fact that they are doing it. Transactional relationships are very common. They're very selfish. It's pretty much about what I can get or what I want to get from it. So it's not really a relational type. It's not really the one that's deeply rooted in genuine affection for the other person, if that makes sense. So some people are in a relationship. It's a case of, tit for tat. It's a case of, you do this for me. And I get it. Every human being is looking for some kind of security and stuff like that. But in my own opinion, if you're coming together with someone is rooted in honesty, trust, and it's genuine and stuff, then it wouldn't be transactional. Transactional is you expect reciprocation from the other party, and there is that pressure on them to sort of pay back what you're doing, and if they don't, there is a problem, and what happens is transactional relationships, love is non-existent. If you get with someone because the guy's got money, or you get with a woman because, she has a very good job. She's a lawyer. She's an accountant. She's self-employed. You notice she's got a fat bank account, or he's got a fat bank account. So it's a transactional love because your eyes are on the money, right? Otherwise known as a gold digger, right? You are aiming. You're not really into that person. You are after what you want to get. You see that person's got a couple of assets and stuff like that. So your eyes is what you can get to satisfy yourself. So these are the reasons why marriages, crash. And amen. This is a vast topic. Hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to touch on several branches of, marriage and things that affect our lives and our cohabiting and stuff. But the focus here is marriage is an empty box. What you deposit into that box, and you've got to constantly, every day, every week, every month, it's an ongoing cycle. What you put into it, it's a joint responsibility. It's a joint liability. What you deposit into that box determine what you both get from it. So if one person is doing the depositing and the other person is being dishonest and not or being flagrant and not doing as much as they should, then you kind of rock the boat, and then it leaves cracks and it leads to problems and stuff like that. So yeah, that's me done. What do you think? Do you believe marriage is an empty box? I don't believe it's okay. I have a huge amount of respect for whatever religion, maybe you're a Christian or a Muslim and stuff, but you cannot use religion to tame a grown adult in a relationship. You cannot use going to church to try to, get somebody to behave in a certain way. No, you've got to connect with them. You've got to speak. You've got to communicate. You've got to be on the same page. You've got to trust. You've got to, have an open book type of approach. It's your boy, Franklin. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now.